You guys can hear me. So let me turn this around. Hi, everyone. I am just changing the light because it is way too sunny in my office. So, hey, how's it going? Oh, I just realized I didn't have my mic on all this while, but now it's on. Yay! Welcome to my live stream today. And all right, so how's it going? If you're on, this is what I'd love for you to do. Just say hi. Tell me where you're viewing from. I would love to know all the things about what's going on with you. So, and listen, you have an opportunity to ask me any questions. I'm here to answer all of them. So, and I'm gonna be here for at least an hour. So, get relaxed. You need your coffee, adult beverage, whatever it is. Get comfortable because we're gonna have a little chat today. So, this is what I'm going to be doing every week. I'm going to come on and chat with you. And the reason why I want to do that is I really want to share as much share as much with you that can help you grow. Especially with women 50 and over. I think we have gotten to a point in life where we've done so much for other people. And I think it's really our time to really settle in and really decide on what it is that we want to do. And I use the word decide because you have to decide for yourself. For a lot of the times, as women, we kind of let other people make decisions for us. I think it's time for us to make decisions for ourselves. And that begins with you knowing exactly what you want. Now, I've spoken to a lot of women, and sometimes they don't even know what they want. But I want to help you do that. I want to help you figure out what it is that you truly love and desire and things that you want to do because there is nothing like living in your purpose. Like, seriously. And for those listening, listen, if you're joining me in here, let me know where you're viewing from. And if you don't mind, you can put your name in there so I can call you out and say hi. I would love to know. And I think sometimes for women, we even stumble into this fear of even saying what we want. And the thing is, the question I always have when I speak to clients, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, but Kwavi, I really don't know what I want." And I normally ask them, like, why are you choosing not to voice what you want out loud? And sometimes it's really, they don't know how to. They've never done it. And they have been the cheerleader for everyone else but themselves, constantly cheering other people on all day, every day. And I think it's time for us to change that around and start to really pursue our own dreams and desires with reckless abandon. Like, seriously, like reckless abandon. Like, let's just go all out. Like, yes, let's do it. Because why not? Like, what is stopping you from going after your goals right now? Like, why? What? Tell me. I want to know. Because I think it's important. Like, if you are at that point where you want more, like if you're living your life and you're bawling, it's great, things are happening the way you want them to, okay, then maybe this message isn't for you. But I do know there are some of you out there that are in this state where you feel you want more, but you're not quite sure where or how to go about it. And that's where I come in. See, maybe when I was 47, when I did interviews with women, because I was like excited about turning 50. Before I turned 50, I was excited about turning 50. And that might have to do with the different countries I had lived in. I had lived in London, I had lived in Nigeria, and then I now lived in the States. And even in residing in all these different countries, I had also visited so many different countries around the world. And I looked at aging as, oh my goodness, this is an amazing time for me. Like, I look at aging as like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get to be their age. Seriously, that is the way I viewed it. And one thing I've realized when it comes to coaching and just this whole knowledge of managing your mind, it all has to do with the way you think. Like, seriously, like two people can see the exact same thing and have opposing views, completely opposing views. I'll give you an example in point. Think about 9/11. 9/11 for Americans and a lot of people in the world, it was horrific. That's the way we view. Like, if you were to ask them, what do you think of 9/11? They'll probably say, oh my god, that was the worst thing that could have happened. Right? That's the statement most people will make that live in America or have sympathy with America. Okay. Now, on the other hand, we have the terrorists that did it, right? You know what they thought? They thought that was victory for them. Same incident, different thought. And I want you to always remember that when you encounter a circumstance in your life, there are always different ways to think about it. And the way you decide, because always remember, when it comes to a thought, it's not imposed on you. No, no. You might think so, but you make that decision. You decide what to think. And so when you make that decision to think a thought about a circumstance, that is going to change the direction of how you feel, of what you do, and the results in your life. Always. And so for me, the way I looked at aging, and this was when I was much younger, I look at it as, oh my goodness, look at how these people are. And I just admired them. Okay, yeah, their bodies had changed. So what? The amount of knowledge. Listen, I had an aunt, she's passed away now, my dad's older sister. I loved listening to her stories, like stories about what she did when she was much younger. And she had so much wisdom. That to me was just so appealing. And so I want us to get to a point, and I don't know if it will in my lifetime, where we celebrate gray hair. Like, okay, I'm going to be honest with you, I have gray hair here, and I'm not always excited about it. But when I see it, I always think, you know what? I'd rather have this than not be here. And so, how am I going to, what's going to be my next step after that? And I do this because I'm sharing this because I want you to start to be really aware of how you think. Like, I don't think a lot of you realize the power of your thoughts. Your thoughts can change your life direction, like really. But the thing I don't think most people realize is you get to control your thoughts. No one can control your thoughts. No one. Like people can influence you and they can do all these external things, but guess what? You know where your thoughts reside? They reside in your brain. No one can pop into your brain and make you think something you don't want to think. Nobody. No one can do that. And that's why I love this work that I do with coaching because even if women come to me, because most women that I work with, they're like in their 50s and over. So think about they've been thinking in a certain way for so long. And so when they come to me, they're almost like stuck in their ways. And that's another thought that does not do you any disservice. It doesn't serve you in any way. When you make statements like, oh, I've always been this way. I mean, really? You really want to hold on to that? I've always been this way. Meanwhile, your life isn't the way you want it. The results in your life are not what you want, but you keep on making the statement, oh, that's just the way I am. Like, really? Don't hold on to thoughts that don't serve you. Don't hold on to thoughts that don't benefit you. Even though they're thoughts that are commonly said, it doesn't mean that it's okay. And that's the thing with the way we are in society. There are so many things, but oh, yeah, well, you don't really do that when you're that age. Like, oh, says who? Oh, you're too old to do that. Says who? Like, listen, this is what I do. I question everything. I question everything. Today while I was working out in the gym, I was thinking about a common statement that women say a lot, and mostly moms really. Well, only moms really say this when they talk about the mom guilt and how they feel, and I question that, because for me, whenever I would feel that, I would quickly ask my question, like, what would I like to have happened? Like, am I seeing the results that I want? And because the thing is, guilt is, and when you look at the definition of guilt, because I actually pulled it up, I was looking, I was so interested in this, I'm going to read it out. I went and looked for the definition of guilt because I really wanted to really like delve into this. Is the thing I do. I question common statements if they don't benefit me. Now, if it benefits me and my life is turning out great, then that's fine. But when you think about something constantly and then you're questioning the results in your life, you know what you really need to question? The thoughts. That's what you need to question. And so this is what I was like, and this is how guilt is described. Guilt is feeling responsible or regretful for a perceived offense, real or imaginary, and can be part of the grief reaction. I mean, think about that. That is what it says guilt is. But think about most moms when they use the word to describe mom guilt, it's normally because, for instance, maybe you're a working mom and you're not home with your child. but you are out there providing. You are providing you're working so that you can provide a great life for your family. And then you feel guilty for doing that. And guilt is, I mean, think about that. Is the and listen, I'm looking at all the different descriptions of guilt here. I'm going to be honest with you. None of them are really. There's one that says the fact of having done something wrong, and especially something that's punishable by law. Like, listen, moms, what you're doing, you're making a life for your kids and your family. you know or maybe you did something, maybe you traveled, you went and took some time out for yourself, and you're like, oh, I feel guilty. Like, let's stop using words like that, because it doesn't describe aptly what we're going through. It doesn't. It just makes you feel worse, because this is the thing: when you feel guilty about anything, that feeling is not positive. And guess what that means? You're going to take action based on a negative emotion. And guess what? That negative emotion is based on something that's unreal or perceived. Like, isn't your child thriving? If you decide to hire a nanny so that you can go to work, you should not feel guilty for being able to provide for a nanny so that you can work. No. And for most moms, if you enjoy working, there is nothing to feel guilty about. You should not feel guilty because you're working and you're not with your child at that time, or feel guilty because, okay, you weren't able to attend all the activities with your child. Like, really, most women will do their best to be with their kids most of the time. But there are times when it's not feasible, sometimes when it's not practical, and that's okay. And quite frankly, it's actually advised for you to have time away from your kids. You need time for you. And that's the other part of it. A lot of you are not even taking time out for yourselves. And so you get to 50 and you feel, oh, I've done all this for my kids. And now the kids have their own life. And you're like, what's going on? What do you think? They want to have their life. They don't want you in their lives all the time. But the issue is, you never created a life for yourself. So now you're like, oops, what about me? This is why we need to decide what it is that we truly want. And I know for some of you it's hard. I know, I get it, because you've never really thought about it. You've never even asked yourself, what do I want? You've always thought about the kids, your spouse, work situation, all of that. And now you're like, what do I do? And so one of the things I created, first of all, I wrote a book about this, like the 50 questions to answer when you reach 50, because I really believe that questions help us grow. Just holding on to statements that, common statements, that doesn't help us. Like you saying, oh, that's the way I've always been, or even making statements like, oh, I think I'm too old to learn something new. Like, those are statements that you need to throw away ASAP. Like, seriously, throw away those statements ASAP, because you are capable of learning something new if you want to. Seriously, like, why would you even want to hold on to a statement that prevents you from growing? And you know what happens when you don't grow? You're dying. You're dying inside. So we don't want that. We want to be able to grow. We want to be able to flourish. Flourish. I love that word. That's why I called my online community Flourish. Because I just think that flourish allows you to grow in your own unique way. Because we all have different ways in which we want to grow. So different. We're all different. And that's why I am on a mission. Actually, I don't even call it a mission anymore. I'm just obsessed with making sure women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond take up space in this youth obsessed world that we live in a loud and proud way. Like, really, like, we're not going in there quietly. Oh, da, da, da. No, we are making our our presence felt in a loud and proud way. Because you know what? Because we can. We have a lot to share. And the younger generation is going to learn so much from us. I'm telling you. They don't know it yet, because first of all, they don't understand why women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s are out here. They don't get it. Yeah. And that's fine. But by the time we're done, they're going to understand. And not only will they understand, they're going to be grateful, because we are setting a different path. Now, our mothers and grandmothers, it was different. Over 50 back then, it was different. They didn't have the opportunities that we have. And so it's like, We have a responsibility to take to take these opportunities that we have been given and use them for good. We can't just sit down in the back and say, okay, what? No, but why would we want to do that? And so the younger ones can see this and be like, oh, look at what they're doing. Exactly. That is what I want us to do, where we are, like doing amazing things in the world. The other day, I interviewed a lady. She's 51 years old. She's in medical school. Medical school. Like the other lady I interviewed is in her 70s. She's doing jujitsu. Like these women are doing beyond amazing things. Another one, she's like in her 70s. She just started modeling for the first time in her 70s and she's getting contracts. I remember another lady I interviewed. She was a doctor, she retired, and in her 60s moved to New York to become an actress. Yeah. So she was hanging out, with really young people because like they were like most of the people in her class were in the older teens, early 20s. And she became an actress. And you know what? She started getting jobs because they don't have a lot of roles. They don't have a lot of people applying for roles for women, older women, black women that are older. So she was constantly booked. Yeah, it's not something. She was a doctor, retired in her 60s. And you know why she did that? Because she had this dream inside of her that she wasn't going to let go away. And this is the thing. I know that all of you watching have a dream that you've probably suppressed over the years. I did that for a long time before I did my first pageant. I remember when I was 16, I was watching, I saw an ad for a beauty pageant. And I was like, wow, that sounds really exciting. And I remember the prize. The prize was a trip to Los Angeles to watch the Olympic Games. Hi, hey, Dorothy, how are you? Oh, the trip was the prize. The top prize was a trip to Los Angeles to watch the Olympics. So that gives you kind of how far back. That was 1984. I was 16 at the time. And so I saw it, but I was like, I decided no, I wasn't going to do it. But, this thought would keep coming up over the years and I'd suppress it. It would come up and I'd like, And then last year, I'm like, you know what? I'm going for it. I don't know what's going to happen, but you know what? I keep feeling like I want to do this. I'm going out there and I'm going to do it. And I did it. And I won the Georgia title. Yeah. I'd never done a pageant in my life. It was an amazing experience. And I went on to nationals and I was the first runner up. Never done a pageant before. In fact, I was the only one in that group who had never done a pageant. Everyone else, they won different titles in different states. And I had an amazing experience. Now, this is the thing. I was able to satisfy myself and I was able to check off that, dream that I had for so long. And I'm not going to have regrets about it because you know what? I did it. And this is the thing. There are no guarantees that if you go after whichever goal you have, that it's going to succeed. We don't know that. But one thing I know you're going to succeed in doing, being able to say, I did it. And the byproduct of doing something, you grow. Like when you go after a goal, your brain is changed because you now have to pursue that goal. You now have to take action to pursue that goal. You have to take action. And so in doing so, you're growing. And so the way I look at it, you never lose when you go after your goal, regardless of the outcome. And who knows, the outcome might be way better than you can even think about. And that's why I encourage women. Oh my goodness, it's like you owe it to yourself. Like the world owes you nothing, but you owe it to yourself while you're in this world to go after your goals. Like all out, not 10%, not 30%, not 50, not 70, 100. Quite frankly, if you can do a bit more, even better. Like, but you have to be all in because nobody is coming to save you. Like, nobody is going to be out there like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come help you and cheer you on. They can do that from the sidelines. But what are you doing for yourself? Like, what are you doing to make your goals come true? What are you doing to make your dreams, to fulfill your dreams? And this is the question I always ask my clients. I always ask, like, at the end of your life, like, what is a statement that you want to say about yourself? Like, oh, you want to be like, oh, yes, I went for it. I did it. Or do you want to have this long bill of regret at the end of your life? Like you get to choose, And listen, sis, we don't have much time. We don't know how much time we have. And so the fact that you're listening to this, take this as a sign to go after your goals, whatever it is. Like whatever it is that you've been writing or you've been postponing or you've been talking about, it's time to quit talking about it. It's time to quit writing it down. It's time to take action and it's time to do. No longer think, no longer say, no longer none of that. Like it's time to act. And that means doing, like doing the work. Let's go ahead and do it. This is not the time to be like, oh, I'll wait till next time. What are you waiting for? Like really, like when you think about your goals, when you have a dream or a desire, you know why you have it? Because you're supposed to birth it out into the world. It's not for you to kind of keep and kind of, like I'm going to just keep this nice and warm inside of me. Like for who? Like we're not doing that. We are going all out. We've made the decision to go after, to have this goal. We have it inside of us. So now we have to make the decision to act on it. Like really. I remember earlier today, there was a saying I found. I love, you know, recording sayings. I'm actually going to pull it up. And this is what it said. Yeah, the cost, sometimes people feel like, oh, I can't afford to do this to achieve my dream. But this is the thing, the bill for regret is way more expensive. You just don't understand. It's way more expensive. And that's why I want you to do the things that light you up, that fuel your dreams, that get you excited to be alive, that you wake up in the morning, you're like, yes, that is what I want for you. Do you know what that feels like? Some of you do. And I know there's some of you that don't. But I want everyone to just taste that feeling, like getting up in the morning and just excited about life. And you know what that happens? That happens when you fulfill your purpose. That happens when you're pursuing your purpose. It happens. And that's what I want for you. I want you to be able to experience that where you're like, yes, I am doing, and I'm going to tell you, not every day is going to be great. And that's okay. Because you know why? Because we live in a world that is 50-50. 50% great, 50% not so great. Always. Like, but it's beautiful that we have those because if we didn't have the not so great, we wouldn't even know what great was. We won't know what great is if we didn't know what not so great was. It's just like, you're not going to know love. You don't know pain. It's like you have to, how do you appreciate? If you, all you know is love, you won't know what love is. But when you experience heartbreak, you're like, oh, I know what love is. I know what that is. And so that's why I want you, because some of you are like, but I'm not sure if it will work out. But why are you using a statement against yourself? Like a statement like that, it's just a statement. Some of you are like, oh, I've just not been, I've not had luck in the past. Like I used to do a lot of weight loss. I used to do, I was a weight loss coach actually before I became a life coach for just women over 50. And one of the things I would hear women say over and over again is like, it hasn't worked for me in the past. So I don't think this will work for me. And I would always respond with, why are you choosing to let your past define your present and your future? Like, why are you choosing to do that? Like, you are just using your past against yourself. Like, why would you want to do that? And some of you listening might be in the same boat. You're like, well, I tried that in the past. It didn't work for me. So I don't think it'll work. Why are you choosing statements like that to prevent you from growing? You know what you're doing? You're just giving your power to that circumstance. And guess what? That circumstance is in the past. And so you're giving power to something that no longer exists. It doesn't exist anymore, but you've given your power away to it. And so that's why it's important for you to listen to the statements that you make to yourself daily. Like, are you using powers? Are you using statements to give you life? Or are you using statements to disempower you? Like, really, like, what are you doing? And that's why I really believe questions, oh my goodness, I think questions just open us up to, just endless possibilities. Because when you question, you're able to ask, is that really for me? Why are they doing that? What? And you get to see different things unfold by asking questions. Some of you just go with the flow. Like, really? Excuse me, let me drink some water. Like, why are you choosing to just go with the flow? What if that's not what's for you? You just accept that, oh, yeah, that's how it is. If you're living a life right now that does not light you up, the question is, do you want a life that lights you up? Like, do you want to be more excited about life? Do you want to wake up in the morning excited about being alive? And if you do, I consider you start to ask yourselves these questions I'm going to give to you. And after answering these questions and you still need help, you need to contact me. And I'm going to put my details at the bottom. So this is the first question. How can you love yourself even more? And I'm sure some of you are like, what? Yeah. Some of you out there don't even love yourselves. You are constantly beating yourself up. You look at yourself and like, I don't know who this is. And then you make a mistake. It's like, whoo, why did you do that? I can't believe you did that. No, 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 no. Constant, berating yourself daily. Like, really? Like, that isn't love. Like, do you do that to your kids if you're a mother? Do you do that to your spouse if you're married? Do you do that to your best friend? Then why would you do it to you? Why do you think it's okay to use words like that on yourself? Why do you think it's okay? Like, oh, good, I'm so stupid. But that is not a statement I will use on myself. I just don't. You know why? Because I'm not stupid, and neither are you. You made a mistake. The action doesn't need to. You don't need the action to describe who you are. You made a mistake. You are not a mistake. It's like be very careful about the way you describe yourself. Like, I just won't be doing that. Like, no, I made a mistake, okay, and I'm going to learn from it, but doesn't mean I'm stupid. No. And so, really, like, how can you love yourself even more? And I really want you to answer that question for yourself because I really believe that the foundation of doing anything stems from self love. Like, if you don't love yourself, I'm sorry. It's going to be a hard road, sis. It's going to be a hard road. Loving yourself is key. Like, that self love, it allows your life to open up in ways that you can't even imagine. Like, seriously, like when you love yourself unconditionally, like you have your back regardless of what happens. Oh, the success that you start to experience is like no other because you're like, okay, I did it. We're doing it. We're going all in. Yes, let's go. And even when you make a mistake, you acknowledge that you made a mistake, but you don't berate yourself because you made a mistake. No. Like, where is that beneficial? Like, how is that beneficial to you if you do that? Like, I really want you to answer. Like, is it? And so, my first question is, how can you love yourself even more? And I like to use the word even more because there might be some of you out there now that love yourselves. And so I'm asking even more. And for some of you, it might be because love for ourselves is very relative. Like, I don't know, I know I have love for myself. I don't know what kind of love you have for yourself. So regardless of how high, low, in between, doesn't matter. We don't have to measure that in order to answer this question. The question is, how can you love yourself even more? And so, wherever you are, which is beautiful with this question, it just says, wherever you are, how can you love yourself even more? Like, wherever you are, how can you add to that? And so, that's the question I'm asking you. Like, how can you add? Oh, I think I need to pour some water in here because this almost finished. Like, how can you love yourself even more? I start to think about that. Can you write it down? Do you have a few ideas? I'll give you some suggestions. One of the things you can do, and this is if you do this already, is start to speak to yourself like you love yourself. Like, speak to yourself. Think about someone you love. Maybe your kids, maybe your spouse, maybe your best friend. Speak to yourself like that. And if you don't have any of those, do this. Think about when you were like 7 or 8 years old. Think about how you would speak to that 7 or 8 year old version of yourself. That's all I'm asking. Because maybe that might be the start for you. Maybe just learning how to speak to yourself in a more compassionate way might be the first step for you. And that's why I want you to start there. Maybe that's what you need. Like being able to speak to yourself from a place of love. That might be your first step. So we'll keep that one. So that's the first one. How can you love yourself even more? The next one is how can you trust yourself even more? And I'm sure you're wondering, trust? Yeah. Be honest with yourself. Do you trust you? Like, when I say trust you, like, can you trust yourself? Some of you can't even, trusting yourself is hard. You can't even go there because you're not sure of yourself. You're not sure of yourself. So you can't even trust yourself. I want you to start to learn how to trust yourself. Like knowing that when you say you're going to do something, you do it. That's how you trust. That's how you build up trust in you. Like if you say you're going to the gym tomorrow, go to the gym. Just go. And it might be cold in the morning. It might be raining in the morning. You might not feel like getting up in the morning. You might be tired in the morning, but you go because you honor that commitment that you've already made to yourself. You do it anyway. And that's how you build trust in yourself. When you say you're going to do something, you do it regardless. Even when, if the time comes and you're tired, you're like, you know what? I told myself I was going to do that. I'm going to do it. And you go. That's how you build trust in yourself. That's how you start to trust you as a person because you know that when you say something, you do it. And I know for a lot of you, a lot of people trust you because you know why? Because you don't back down. When you say you're going to do something for others, you do it. The question is, why don't you do that for you? Hmm? I think it's time to examine that. It's time for you to do that. All right. The next question I have is name the emotion you are most afraid of experiencing and why. I know that's a tough one. What do you think? Name the emotion you are most afraid of experiencing and why. Some of you are afraid of your emotions, and that's true. That is a legit fear. And I get it because sometimes I feel that way. But the question is, I want you to be able to name what that emotion is and be able to decide ahead of time that you're going to experience it. You're like, oh, Kwabi, I don't want to do that. Yes. Listen, everything that you want to experience that you were scared of or afraid of is on the other side of that emotion. It's like when you feel that emotion, you go for it anyway. Oh, my word. Do you know that emotions is like one of the things that prevents a lot of people from experiencing success? They don't want they worry that if they do something, they might be humiliated, they might be shamed, they'll have all this fear, all kinds of you know why? Because when you do something new, you will feel an emotion like that. When you do something new, it's more than likely it's not going to be a positive emotion. Like the thrill of doing something new, yes. But once you start taking action, oh girl, it's a whole different story because that's when things come up. First of all, it's something new. That means you've never done it before, right? Okay. So there's going to be that apprehension. And the way our brain is designed, listen, our brain doesn't want us to do anything new. You know why? Because it wants to protect us. Our brain has no concept of the future. No. Our brain only looks at what we've done in the past. And that's why when you want to do something new, your brain is like, okay, let me check my computer database. Da, 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 and it's looking to what you've done in the past. That's what it does. And so when it doesn't see anything, it checks, da, 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 and then it comes back with result not found. You know why? Because when you do something new, you don't have any experience in it. You've never done it before. That's the whole point. And so your brain is going to be like, okay, result not found. All right, let's put up some, let's put up some gates and fences and prevent her from going out there in the world because she doesn't know how to do this. We don't want her to fail. We don't want her to feel shame. We don't want her to feel humiliation. That's what your brain is doing. And that's why it's trying to protect you. But quite frankly, how can your brain protect you against something you've never done before? You need to experience it for yourself. That's what happens. But what a lot of you do sometimes is, okay, I'm not going to bother. I can't do that. And then you give in and you prevent yourself from growing because that's an opportunity for growth. And you can't grow like that. You can't grow. And then you're preventing yourself. And then you don't do it. And you're like, oh, I didn't do it because no, that is not the right answer. The right answer is I did it and this happened, not, oh, I didn't even try. No, some of you are not even trying. Like, why? You have an opportunity. Try it. I don't know if you like it. I don't know what the outcome will be, but do it anyway. Like, go all in. Like some of you, I know some of you out there that want to write a book. Some of you want to travel. Some of them want, want to be in a new relationship. Some of you don't want to be in the current relationship. I mean, there are so many things. Do it. Do what you already know the answer inside because I really believe that all of us, every single person listening, has their own inner wisdom. We all do. But sometimes we won't listen to it because they're like, oh, I'm not sure. I can't. Listen, no one is really ever sure of anything. No one is ever really sure of anything. Just make the decision and keep it moving. And you know what? If you don't like it, switch, change it again. But I want you, and this is all part of the trust too, where you make a decision, trust yourself that you will make the right decision. That's it. And that's all you have to say. I'm trusting myself to make this decision, and then you move on. That's what you need to do. But for a lot of you, you're not doing that. You're like, oh, I'm not. No, just do it. Allow yourself to trust yourself. Like, really. That's how we grow. And sometimes it's just heartbreaking when I see women who say things like, well, I just think it's too late for me. Mm-mm. No, sis. It's not too late for you. As long as you're breathing, oh, then it's good. I mean, I remember just maybe it was about a month ago, I ran into a lady and she was telling me about one of her clients. And guess how old her client is? Just guess. 91 years old. And you know what she just started? A new business at 91. Now, I want to be honest. How many of you listening to this, and please put a comment, how many of you would consider creating a business at 91? Like, what would you even think about it? You're like, oh, no. I mean, really, I want you to be honest with me. Put a yes or no. Would you consider starting a business at 91? 91. Like really, like those like stories like that, I'm gonna be honest, stories like that light me up to no end. Like I get so excited when I hear stories like that because I'm like, yes, yes, at 91. Like she is this is a listen, girls, ladies, we need to live life to the fullest, to the end. Why are we holding back? Like really, like why are we going? Let's just we go all in. And this is something I do with my clients all the time because they come with me with all these different goals. I'm like, okay, let's go. Which one do you want to do first? Let's tackle this. And then I help them manage their mind because I don't have to know about your business to help you. I don't need to know anything about your strategy or whatever. No, I come in to help you overcome the brain battles in your head. That's what it is. I help you with the brain battles in your head because there's always a war in your brain as you try and do something new. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so thirsty. And you know what? The weather's been really cold in Atlanta, so trying to deal with that too. But so that was the next one. Name the emotion you are most afraid of experiencing and why. Now, next question. Name one thing that you would like to achieve before you leave this earth. Like really? What is that for you? Like what is it? I know one of mine that I really want to achieve before I leave this earth, which I am planning to start next in 2023. Start my PhD. Yeah, I want to get a PhD. You're probably wondering, you want to go back to school? Like, yes. I love being in school. I love the whole process. Love, love, love it. When I did my master's, I had my two boys. So yeah, adult education is challenging, but I'm in for all of it. And hopefully it might be a little easier. I'm thinking because my older one would be on his way to college. I'm like, yes. But you know what? The other thing's going to be going on anyway. So, but regardless, that's my plan. But I want to ask you, like, what is the one thing you would like to achieve before you leave this earth? And I know you have something. And this is the other thing. I don't know is not allowed. We don't use those words. I'm going to be honest, we don't. And the reason why I don't let my clients use those words is because I don't know is a statement that blocks your brain from creativity. Like when you say I don't know, that's a signal to the brain, do nothing. Yeah. When the brain hears I don't know, the brain is like, shut down. Okay, we're good. Let's chill. That's what the brain hears. So please don't use that word, I don't know. And some of you are like struggling with that. Okay, so if you did know, what would your response be? Like, if you did know, what would your response be? Like, that's where we're going to go with that. Because I know some of you are like, oh, I don't know. No. And catch yourself when you say, I don't know. Because I don't know is just almost a way to say, I want to talk. That's it. Done. I know you want more for yourself. I know you want more and you want to be more. And so, knowing ahead of time what you would like to achieve before you leave this earth is important. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, you know. And I know you might be like, oh, if I say it out loud, people will know. That's okay. What are they going to do? Like, really? Like, what are they going to do? Nothing. They can't do anything to your own dreams and goals. They can't. And so think about it. Like, what is yours? Like, what is something that you want to do that you're like, oh, I really want to do this before I leave this earth? And be intentional about it, intentional about achieving it. So, what do you think are your top three accomplishments so far? What are yours? Like, think about like, what are your top three accomplishments? I want you to really let that question sink in and spend time answering that. And you know why? I think it's important as women that we acknowledge our all our accomplishments because it's very easy for us to get caught up in this statement of, oh, I'm not really doing anything. Like, really? Yes, you are. You're doing amazing things in the world. And I want you to realize that you are. And this is not for anyone else. This is for your own, just for your own purpose. I want you to think about a resume, but instead of writing a resume, write down all your accomplishments. In other words, someone's like, "Oh, I just want to see your accomplishments because I want to, you know, interview you for a job." But all I need to see are your accomplishments. You best believe you're going to be putting all your accomplishments up there, right? Do that for yourself. Like write and get a sheet of paper and write down all your accomplishments for us to see. That is what I want from you. I want you to be able to just look at those lines and like, oh my goodness, I did that. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? That's me. I did that. Yes. And the other thing, there was some research done in Harvard about celebrating small and big wins and the power of celebrating of celebrating wins. And that to me is really important because they did the research and they said there's something in the brain that is almost like fireworks when you accomplish something because your brain's like, yes, when you accomplish something, and your brain loves that. So there's some brain science behind it. And so go after your goals and celebrate along the way. So key, so important. You have to celebrate along because a lot of you do all these amazing things in the world and you're like, no, I'm not doing anything. Yes, you are. I said that to one of my clients the other day. She was saying, and I was like, do you realize all the different things you've accomplished? And she's like, yeah, no. But you have to accomplish them. That is what prevents burnout. Oh yeah. hmm Oh yeah. So go all in. The next question is, what brings you joy? What brings you joy on a day to day? What brings you joy on a day to day basis? What is that like? What does that look like? I want to know because I know that you can. If you can find the answer, that's going to help you grow. I really want you to be able to answer that question for yourself. Like, what brings you joy, or have you forgotten what brings you joy? And if you have, I want you to go way back. Ask yourself that question: what brings me joy? Like, what makes me excited? What makes me laugh? I know mine is dancing. Listen, dancing brings me so much joy. Oh, I would like to leave a written history of my time with my core family member. Oh, I think you should do that, Dorothy. Oh my goodness, I love that. You should do that. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, you should. What a beautiful gift. Oh, now Dorothy, where do you live? Oh my goodness, that is such a beautiful gift. Oh, and see, and that's why I really think it's really important that as we get older, we really we have this is the other thing I'm beginning to realize that I want to share with all of you. It's important for us to have intergenerational relationships. And by that, I mean have relationships with people of all ages. I think it's so important because we have a lot to share with them and we can also learn from them also. Um, and it's just a beautiful thing when you have that. Like for me, I have like cousins who are much younger, who I'm really close to that I call and, I hang out with. And I do that because I really want to learn more about them. And I also want to be a guide for them too. And so it works both ways. And then I have an older cousin who's in her 70s who I absolutely love and I spend a lot. Oh, yeah, and Kylie, who I absolutely love and I spend so much time with her. In fact, she was the one that taught me how to do the electric slide maybe, goodness, 30 years ago. She taught me how to do the electric slide. And recently we had like a family reunion trip to Mexico. We went to Mexico and we did the electric slide in a cafe, like out in the open. We just had to do it. And I mean, I love that because I mean, I love learning from older women. I love sharing my wisdom to as far as I know, with other, younger members. I think it's so important that we do that, that we create those friendships across generations. I think it's important. We learn from one another. So, yeah. So, what brings you joy? What brings you joy? Like, think about that. And in the same vein, what brings you joy? What keeps you up at night? Like, what do you think about that you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know about this. I need to, like, what is keeping you up at night? And what can you do to kind of help resolve it? Like, what are the steps you can take to resolve it? I think that's important. That's an important question. And remember, these questions are questions you need to ask yourself frequently. It's not a one and done. No, no. You're in Georgia. Oh my goodness. I'm in Atlanta. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so nice. But yeah, it's like it's so important that we share, because we all have amazing wisdom within us. Like, I just want to let, and this is something I like to do. Like, all of you listening, I want all of you to know how extraordinary you are. I think sometimes we forget that we're extraordinary beings. And so, this is what I want all of us to do. If you're listening right now, I want you to do this. I want you to say with me, I am extraordinary. So, let's say it again. I am extraordinary. I am extraordinary. And you know why? Because we all are. We all have extraordinary within us. But I know some of you are holding on to it that it can't come out. Let it out. Let it out. That's why you have it. It's not for you to hold on to, it's not for you to hoard. You're supposed to let it shine out into the world. That's what you're meant to do. The next question, what are you choosing to believe about yourself? And that's a very important question, because what you believe in is how you show up. So you could be thinking, "Oh, I'm not someone capable of doing this," or that's how you're showing up to the world, and you might not even realizing it. Your belief in yourself is how you show up in the world. And so, what do you believe about yourself? Do you believe you're a capable person? Do you believe you have confidence? Do you believe you can do all these amazing things? How do you view yourself? Like, do you believe that you're capable of that? One moment. Mm. It's important to know what because what other people think of you, that is secondary. The primary thing you need to focus on is your primary focus should be on, what are you choosing? And I use the word choose because you always have a choice on how you believe about you, or what you believe about you. You always have a choice. And so, when you're choosing to believe something about yourself, is it what you want to believe? That's a true question. Like, is that what you want to believe? Do you want to choose to believe that, oh, I can't handle I c- I you want to choose to believe that you're not capable of maybe running a business or writing a book or traveling alone to another country? Like, what are you choosing to believe about yourself? That is a question that I would love for you to answer. And it will tell you, when you answer that question, it's going to reveal a lot about who you are as a person. What is something you do consistently that you are proud of? Like, what is that for you? Is it the way you show up? Is it what you do for family members? Is it what you do for yourself? Is it the exercise? Is it how you take care of yourself? Like, what is that? Like, what is that you're super proud of that you do consistently? Listen, consistency, oh my word, that is something that sometimes we kind of take for granted. It's an amazing skill to have. Amazing skill. Like, what is something you do consistently that you're proud of? I want you to really think about that and make a decision ahead of time what that is. And then number 10, okay, drum roll here. Da, 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 da. Number 10, what is your superpower? So, for a lot of you, you're like, oh, I don't know what that is, but let me give you one. If you're over 50, I already know there are two that you have if you're over 50: wisdom and experience. Do not underestimate those two. Those two can get you out of a bind any day. Your wisdom and experience, that's part of your superpower. Now, you're going to have additional ones that I don't know about that you should know. So, Do a bit of digging. Find out what things that come easy to that you just kind of just do at the fly. Like, what are some of those things? I want you to think about that because that's your superpower. In addition to the wisdom and experience, like the wisdom and experience are given, but you also have others. Like maybe you're great, maybe you're great at organizing. Maybe you have, um, you're great at, keeping the peace. Like being able to mediate. Maybe that's your skill. Are you good at teaching? Are you good at maybe coordinating things like, like more like a project manager, how to coordinate? Maybe you're the one that like for family trips, you're the one that coordinates, or maybe you're the historian in the family. You're able to keep records of different things that are going on. So I really want you to think about that because knowing your superpower is going to allow you to thrive in the world. Okay, listen, ladies, 50, 60, 70s and beyond, it is our time. This is not the time to kind of like, oh, no, this is our time to stand up. And I want you to really ask yourself, like, are you, because when you're coasting, when you're kind of like pulling yourself back, like, "Ah, I'm not, And so I want to ask you, are you like, when it comes to how you're living your life on a scale of 1 through 10, where are you? Are you kind of like in the middle, like 5, or maybe even lower, like 2 or 3, or maybe you're like a 10 plus? There's some people out there like, oh, yeah, I got this. I'm over there. Where are you? Like, I want you to really evaluate your life and determine where you fit in. And when you make that decision, ask yourself, is that what you want? Because you can be a 5 and you'd be like, yeah, I'm good. I'm okay. I want to just be a 5. I'm fine. Or maybe not. Or maybe you're a 6 and you're like, okay, nope, I want to be a 10. Or you could be a 2 and say, I'm good with being a 2. Or you could say, no, I want more. And so I really want you to ask yourself that question, like, where do I fit in? And is it where I want? Because if it's not, you can change it. And if it's not, I can help you. So this is the thing. All the things I'm talking about today, there are things you can do on your own. But I also know that sometimes, sorry, I need some water. Listen, it is cold in Atlanta. Well, actually, you know what? I'll take that back. It's a bit better now, so I'm not going to complain too much. It was kind of cold like the last few days, but it's warming up. And when I say warming up, I'm like 50. Like 50 is not warm to me. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just going to be honest. 50 is cold. Yeah, but this is the time to step up. Like I said, some of this information I'm sharing, you got this. You're like, oh, I can do this. Not a problem. But I know there's some of you that are like, oh, Kwavi, I think I might need some help. Contact me. I'm going to leave my details at the bottom. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to put my details here. All you have to do is email me. Let's put that at kwavi.com. Okay. That's my email. I just put my email. So just email me and I'll let you know the options available, you know, because I want more women in their 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond to step up. Like it is our time to share our knowledge with the world. And this is not only going to help my generation. Like no, it's going to help the younger generation coming up behind us. And this is the thing. It starts with changing our perception of older people. Really, it does. And I remember, when I was doing that survey and I was interviewing women, I was shocked at the responses. I would say 80% of the women I interviewed over 50, and I was interviewing them to get advice, describe themselves as invisible. Yeah, invisible. And my thing was like, why would they describe themselves that way? And I said, okay, let me check Google. So I went to Google, my friend Google, typed in the word invisible woman, and the words invisible woman syndrome popped up. And I was like, okay, so this is a thing? It's actually a thing? And as I read those words, I remember vividly, like it was yesterday. I remember it so well. And I remember the words coming up. You can make a difference. You can be the change popped up in my head, like constantly. It was like back and forth. I was like, okay, all right, I can do this. And that's when I decided, that's when I started this mission. And I'm really obsessed about it because I really think that women in their 50s and over have so much to share. Like, I just feel that we are just like almost like prized possession that people don't know about. Like, you have this prize and you're not even aware that you have it. That's how I feel women 50 and over. And the reason why I say that is Look at the media. They don't showcase women in their 50s and over. They will show us in pharmaceutical commercials. Okay, I give it to them. But that's not all we do. We purchase cars, we go on vacation, we buy clothes, but you don't see us there. Oh no, they want to use mostly younger people. And listen, you can use younger people, but there's nothing to say that you can't use young people and older women at the same time. That's the difference. That's the difference. And so I really want to encourage you. And I don't know where you are on your journey with regards to self growth and who you are in the world, but I really invite you to start to ask yourselves these questions and write the responses down, because it's not enough for you to. This is the other thing. We live in a very consumer oriented society where we want to consume information. Da, da, da. Oh, yeah, I want to watch this podcast. I want to take this class. I want to do that. Consumption does not help you learn. Consumption does not help you with acquire knowledge. You know how you acquire knowledge? By doing, by taking action. That's how you acquire knowledge. Reading books? Oh no, we can read books all day. What are you doing? What did you learn from the book? What action are you taking? And that's what I help my clients do. I help them go, like I go to war for my clients. I listen, when my clients come to me and say that they want this, it's on. Like, okay, let's go. What are we doing here? Let's go. Like, all right, let's go. And I have the belief for my clients. Like most times my clients, they're like, oh, I don't think I could. I'm like, okay, you're there. You're like on the 2 now. That's fine. Listen, I have 10 plus for you right now. I have so much belief in this for you that you can ride off on my belief. You can ride on my belief until you get yours. And that's okay. And that's how I work with my clients because I want them to get there. But I know in the beginning, they don't see it. But I see it so clearly. Like, I'm like, this is a done deal for you. We're going, we're doing it, but they can't see it yet. And so I stand in the gap with my belief, holding belief for them, and they ride on my belief until their belief starts to build up. That's what I do. And I absolutely love it. Love it for all my clients. I love all my clients. And I mean that. You know why? Because I love seeing how they change. I love seeing how, they start off one day and they're like, oh, Kwame, I'm not sure about this. And all of a sudden, you just see the way they look visually changes. You can see the glow. You can see their shoulders kind of pop up because now they have a bit more confidence in who they are and how they're showing. And because they now have more confidence, they're showing up in the world in a very different way. It's a beautiful thing to see how women can change when they're given the opportunity to thrive. A lot of you are not. A lot of you want to do that, but you're just not in a place where you can. And I understand that because we live in a world that, listen, ageism is real. This whole negative narrative around aging, it's real. And so that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing because I know there are so many women out there who have bought into this idea that their life is older, being over 50 is a death sentence. And I want to change that. You know why? Because I know it's not true. I know it's not true. And so that's why I'm changing it. And that's why I encourage women like go after your goals. Wear the outfit that you want to wear. Go create the book. Go create the business. Go all in because that's how we learn. We learn through seeing. So, the more people see us doing all these amazing things, like, oh, look at her. And before you know, it becomes normalized. Like, oh yeah, she's over 50. And they're like, oh, okay. Not now. It's like over 50, you're doing that? Why? So funny. And my question is, why not? Like, why not? So, I mean, I want to just come on here and just share the 10 questions, but I think I kind of went over, I discussed other things, and hopefully you learned something from this. But this is the thing that I really absolutely want for you. Start creating, like start taking action. You've consumed, you've done all that. It's time for you to start creating. And as we start a new year, this is a great time to start to look at that. And if you need more, like I said, I put my email in there. Send me an email. Let me know. I'd love, love, love to talk to you more about this because I'm on a mission to inspire more women to live their life on their own terms. So the more women I get, the more women that contact me, the more I know that we'll be able to change more lives. I know that for a fact. So I'm excited. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you guys because listen, you could have been doing anything with your time and you spent it with me. And I truly appreciate it. All right. Take care. Love to everyone. Bye.